Freedom's greetings, Helldivers. Ervin here, bringing you a breakdown on the anti-tank weapon class in Buff Divers 2. The Buff Divers patch just went live, and I've been spending the escalation of us day working out all the numbers and breakpoints behind the legion of buffs that have gone into our anti-tank weapons. Arrowhead might have given you the TLDR on how these weapons perform, but I'm here to give you the TL version, including all the damage numbers, penetration values, and enemy health breakpoints that you could ever want to know. So, let's get right into it. Let's start off with a patch winner, the recoilless rifle.
Okay, so it's basically like having a delete button on hand.
And delete it does. The recoilless rifle now deals an incredible AP6 3,200 damage and durable damage to anything it hits, with a moderate additional 150 damage AP3 explosion tacked on. This is fatal to like literally everything in the game. No, really, let me show you. The factory strider is able to tank one rocket to any of its body parts, even its head, and only goes down after the second rocket lands in the same body part. This much is true. However, the eye weak point bypasses the outer armor of the head, and with it only being reworked to have 2500 eye health, it is good night for any giant piles of scrap that catch one of these rockets from the launcher directly. Cannon turrets and tanks have had their armor buffed up to 6, reducing the damage of our recoilless rifle down to just 2080, which does allow it to survive one shot. However, around the back and sides of the tank or turret, the armor is still the relatively squishy class 3, meaning a one-shot kill for the recoilless. Hulks, one shot, literally anywhere. Yeah, really. The main health pool is only 1800, and even the arms and legs of the Hulk transfer 80% of the damage received to main, meaning no matter where you hit this guy, he's going down. It is a literal Hulk deleter, and I absolutely am here for it. Gunships? Yep. One shot anywhere, as you would expect, considering it could already do that. There's no world they survive a shot from these. Goes without saying as well that the bunker turrets are an easy one shot anywhere on top of things. Lastly, fabricators were reworked to have HP and armor in addition to being detonated to demolition force. They are instantly destroyed by the recoilless rocket. Yeah, that thing Commando is known for and the reason you took the Commando. The recoilless just does that now, allowing you to knock out up to 6 fabricators from across the map before needing a resupply. Okay, so how about Bile Titans? Yep, one shot to the head for those two. They got 1500 health now on their heads, but that isn't nearly enough to take a hit from this cannon, so they go down instantly. If you miss the head, you can also expect the Titan to fall, being hit literally anywhere else twice. Doesn't even have to be the same spot twice either, so that is just nuts. Chargers? Yep, no chance in hell. Nail them anywhere on the body and it's instantly good night. Their main health was raised to 2400, the head to only 1200. Neither is high enough to tank a shot from this thing, so it's just over when you land any direct hits. As Arrowhead pointed out, having a buddy to load this thing is basically a heavy deleted from your screen every click of your mouse. It's just incredible. And the Charger Behemoths? Yep, same story, exact same breakpoints, instantly deleted. No further questions asked. Lastly, the Impaler, who is also gone as well. No part of the Impaler's body can tank a recoilless rifle rocket. It just straight up dies. Yeah, wow. Cannot believe how much of a glow up this weapon has gotten. I want you guys to realize that the recoilless rocket on release used to take 3 shots just to break open charger legs. Look at how far we've come. So what about the rest of the AT? It'd be a pretty short video if they all functioned like this, right? Well, they don't. They've been split into 3 classes, all sharing damage values with the other anti-tank weapons in their class. The Spear, for example, while it does deal an insanely high 4,000 raw damage at Class 7 penetration and 150 explosive at Class 3 pen, the missiles, funny enough, end up sharing most of the breakpoints with the recoilless rifle. The Factory Strider will take 1 headshot to bring down from the Spear on a direct hit, although this is extremely tricky to cause. The typical user will experience a 2-shot kill anywhere on the body, same as the recoilless rifle, and it is still important both shots land in the same place. The tanks and cannon turrets are a bit different, as the Spear has the penetration to take them out in 1 shot, no questions asked. Hulks, a 1 shot, same as the recoilless. Fabricators, yep, still a 1 shot. Titans, Sadly, not a one bang to the back. It takes two. Still a one shot to the head, though, of course, but yeah, that's a bit more effort and just a little bit unfortunate. Chargers are, of course, dropped in one shot too. The gunships, in case I forgot to mention, are one shot, and the impaler, yep, you guessed it, one shot. But only if you landed on the destructible region of the body. Shots directly on the peak of its back might not always take it down in one hit. As you can tell from these breakpoints, this puts the spear in a relatively rough position as the recoilless rifle doesn't have lock on mechanics that you have to play around with nearly identical breakpoints while sporting two additional rockets per load and a faster animation cancelable reload speed. Couple this with the fact every AT weapon, even the railgun in 6 hits, can take out fabricators now, and it's unfortunately pretty all over for the spear now living in the shadow of the recoilless launcher. Now we get into the middle class of anti-tank power with the Queso beam cannon and the expendable anti-tank launchers, who both deal 2000 damage straight up, durable or not, with a penetration value of 6 and 150 explosive damage as a chaser at class 3 pen. The breakpoints for these weapons are where things begin to get a bit more specific than firing vaguely in the target's direction for a kill, requiring more thought behind their usage. For the Queso cannon, considering it's the pinnacle of convenience, being towed around the whole match without taking your backpack, dropping 2000 damage downrange every 20 seconds with infinite ammo if needed, this makes perfect sense. For expendable anti tanks, though, which are straight up inconvenient to utilize anywhere besides rocket defense missions, yeah, not so much. Anyway, the breakpoints go as follows. The Factory Strider will drop should you receive two shots to the eye from either of these weapons, thankfully. Three shots to the head, though, three shots to a leg, or four shots to the sides or rear. Suffice to say, you are going to have to put a lot more work in if you want to bring these guys down with these weapons, which you probably shouldn't if we're being honest. This breakpoint compared to the recoilless launcher already has me a bit averse to ever taking these two out over it. That being said, though, tanks and cannon turrets, are those breakpoints any better? Yes, actually, two shots from these weapons is enough to remove a tank through the front plate, while one shot to the back or sides will also remove them, definitely a mark better and more realistic than the Factory Strider. Some more good news, both of these weapons also one-shot kill the fabricators thankfully, just like the recoilless rifle. So if you want a backpackless fabricator deleter from any angle, the Queso beam cannon is actually a pretty solid pick for this task. What neither is a solid pick for, though, is gunship patrols, which leave you lacking on the firepower department even if you land all your shots due to simply not having enough ammo to go around or too long of a cooldown. That being said, however, we probably shouldn't judge anti tank weapons for how they perform against gunship swarms when that really isn't their bag, as this is a general problem all of them tend to share. Hulks, how about those guys? Some more good news. The Queso and Eats both deal enough damage to drop a Hulk with any shots landing anywhere on the main body. You don't manage to take them out when firing into a limb, though, but I think that is perfectly fine. Moving on to the Terminids, we have some really good news for these weapons on this faction. The Bile Titan gets dropped dead from a single headshot, or when it receives three shots to anywhere on its body. The Charger and all variants follow suit. While a Charger is able to tank a shot to its body from the Queso Beamer Eats, a direct hit to the head will send them on their way on any of the variants. When it comes to the Impaler, it's the exact same way. One shot to the head and it's lights out. Two shots anywhere else on the body, or two shots to a leg, and they are down for the count. This means the Queso Cannon and Eats both experience potential one-shot breakpoints on every single heavy unit the Terminids can put out, with overall strong use cases for the bots as well, although not as good as the recoilless rifle or spear, of course. I'm personally going to be using a ton of the Queso Beam Cannon yet again in my bug loadouts alongside the personal shield. Now for the last tier of anti-tank weaponry, sporting the lowest damage. The Commando, joined by the Patriot exosuit rockets. Initially, I jumped the gun and thought the Patriot suit received the recoilless rifle rockets, not realizing they had all been separated. But I was instantly reminded this was not the case. Literally, this interaction that you're watching right now, it made me very sad. The exosuit rockets and the commando deal only 1100 raw damage at Classic's pen with the obligatory 150 AP3 explosive damage, which is almost one third of the recoilless rifle and about half the queso and eats. Quite a lot weaker straight up, so let's check on those breakpoints. Starting with the very bad news and working my way up, thankfully 3 perfect eye shots from these weapons will knock out the factory strider, but if you just generally hit the head, it's gonna cost you 5 rounds, one more than the commando even has. When it comes to taking them out anywhere else, the commando can just barely take a factory strider out through any part of the main body, but for the legs, it's just not worth trying, and even then, dumping 4 rockets into a single part of the body isn't a guaranteed kill as it's sitting right on the line for doing so. More likely, it's going to take 5 due to fall off, which is, yes, still a thing. When it comes to the cannon turrets and tanks, it's a big yikes for this weapon class, taking 4 shots from the front or 2 from the side or back to bring them down. Having to use my entire commando to drop a single tank or turret from the front is a big no thank you for me right then and there. Thankfully, the commando and Patriot rockets can take down gunships in a single hit anywhere, which is nice, but it's hard to be excited about overall compared to the other weapons in other classes doing this particular job better. Add on the fact that it takes 2 shots to destroy a fabricator, the only anti tank weaponry taking more than 1 for this task, and I am very ready to move on to the Terminids and forget these 2 options exist when it comes to the automatons. Bile Titans, what are we looking at for these two? Well, it's a 2-shot headshot and generally not worth exploring as far as any other options in comparison, which is about what the release date for the Patriot was, so I can accept this pretty easily. It's also exactly the same as the Commando was last patch. All Charger variants will take 2 hits to any portion of the main body due to the second shot exploiting the damage amplification of the flesh within. The leg shots will result in a 2-shot kill, and headshots also a 2-shot kill as well. Overall, less effective in every way than other options when it comes to both precision or general firepower. The missed headshot breakpoint, even on the weakest of chargers, is a true shame and is, in my opinion, a death sentence for the Commando. The Patriot can still game it out with its Gatling gun and overall higher volume of rockets, but I have to pronounce the Commando dead here. RIP, Commando. You walked so recoilless rockets could run, and you will be missed. Lastly, the Impaler. 1 headshot is thankfully enough to put this guy down for good, so that is some fantastic news for both of these weapons that they very much needed. Any leg will defeat the target in 2 shots, and the rear can only sustain 2 hits as well, making the Impaler quite the ideal target for this category of anti-tank weapon. If it wasn't for the disappointing Charger results, this would be quite the highlight in my opinion. Alright, that's about it. Well, not quite yet. You see, there is one more anti-tank weapon in the game now. The thermite grenades. These now deal a whopping 2,000 damage when they explode, meaning they take down every target with similar or better breakpoints than both the queso cannon and EATs, making them a true anti-tank option at last for your grenade slot. These are quite powerful in their own right and worth bringing along if your loadout would otherwise lack anti-tank options or fabricator clearing options, as yes, the thermite grenades do in fact destroy fabricators without the vent as well now. For the first time since their addition, I'm actually looking forward to cooking loadouts with this grenade. And of course, the recoilless rifle. I think at this moment in my study and information gathering, the recoilless rifle is very much looking like the overall patch winner, while the commando is looking like the biggest loser. All the other weapons are overall more effective than they used to be and likely do have truly decent use cases, but the recoilless rifle and the queso cannon, in my opinion, definitely took home the gold with this one. Thanks for watching till the end, and have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
Let's get jump.